Hello everyone, welcome back to the Painted Springs Garage YouTube channel. So today I'm doing a tune-up, or at least spark plugs and ignition coils on this GMC Acadia. This is a 2014. It's got the 3.6 liter VVT engine, and it looks like all the spark plugs are fairly accessible. I think I'll be able to get them all out without having to pull the intake manifold off. This here is just an engine cover that pops off in about 5 seconds, so we'll pull that up. The only one that looks like it's a little bit tight to get to is in the front corner here, where there's a solenoid or something there, and I might need to remove a couple little pieces to so I can kind of wiggle the ignition coil out of there, but I think it'll come out okay. The coils on this car, they all look like this. It's coil on plug, so this is probably about 6 or 7 inches tall. So it's just a matter of, kind of getting this loose and twisting it and, kind of find the right angle to slide it out of there. I think. We'll see. But anyhow, let's get that engine cover off and take a closer look at this and start getting those spark plugs out. So I've got the engine cover off here, and everything looks pretty accessible. The rear plugs, you can't see them here because they're underneath the cowl, but you can get your hand back in there fine, and back underneath the cowl there's actually a lot of room, so I don't see those being a problem at all. On the front here, there's some wire harnesses and hoses and stuff that are kind of in the way, but mostly you can move aside. It's just this one front one where there's like a solenoid here. Looks like maybe it's for like the fuel evaporative system. It's got a hose going to it, but I think I can get that solenoid out of the way, then probably wiggle that coil out of there. Not really a big deal, I think, but we'll see. One other thing I always do before pulling ignition coils or spark plugs out is I'll take some compressed air and blow all the dust and debris away from the area. And this engine's pretty dusty. I know that they live on a dirt road, and I don't want to get any sand or dirt or dust or anything down the cylinders. So I'm going to take some compressed air, kind of clean the engine off real quick. Then we're going to yank all these coils and plugs right out of here. Well, that quickly, I've got all 3 of the front coils out of the engine, and along the way here I only removed 4 bolts. So, that it looks deceiving, looking in here, trying to see, how hard is it to replace these spark plugs, get the coils out, etc. But when you get in here, it's actually pretty straightforward. Just pop that engine cover off, 4 bolts, and you've got the coils out, at least on the front. The rear, I don't think it's going to be any worse. So at this point, then we'll get the spark plugs out and get our new plugs ready to go in. I got the spark plugs out of the engine, and for a big V6 front-wheel drive vehicle, these spark plugs actually came out pretty easy. So I'm looking at them on the bench now, and you know, they're a little bit dirty. You know, you can see this one has maybe a little bit of oil around it, but you know, the tip is not bad. You know, as far as oil goes, although there's some oil dripping off of that one. The rest of them look fine. So the misfire on this car probably was this spark plug getting some oil around it. But I'm not sure if it was coming like from the cylinder up through the threads. That's probably it. I mean, the bottom looks okay. It doesn't look like the oil's coming down from the top. But you can also see that that they're all quite a bit worn out. I mean, these are like very pointy spark plugs. So, but they look pretty evenly worn across the 6 of them, so that's good. But when you look at how worn these ones are compared to what a new spark plug looks like, you can see that they've gotten every mile out of these spark plugs. They don't owe them anything. So these new plugs will certainly help and hopefully resolve that misfire. Although I'm a little bit concerned about the oil out of this one. I think this would be cylinder number 3. Essentially, it's the cylinder closest to the driver. So I'm not sure if that's 3 or 6, but that's the only one that has oil on it. So now I'm going to take my little spark gap gauge. I've had this in my toolbox for probably close to 20 years now. Picked it up a long time ago. And we're going to set the gap on all these spark plugs. Usually under the hood somewhere, you should be able to find what the spark plug gap is. Like here, there's like a little emission sticker. And over here, there's a sticker for the air conditioning charge, air conditioning type. Usually somewhere, there'd be a sticker that says what your spark plug gap is supposed to be, but this car doesn't have it. So I grabbed the owner's manual out of the glove box, and fortunately, it had the spark plug gap in there. It's 43 thousandths of an inch. So we're gonna get all these new spark plugs set to the right gap, and throw them back in the engine. Well, just like that, it is all back together again. So all in all, this is actually a pretty easy job. You can get to all of the coils with just taking the engine cover off. Then you got to take that little solenoid off, or I think it's the evap system. You just got to kind of pull it out of the way and tuck it aside. And after that, you can just pull all 6 coils out, all 6 spark plugs out, no problem. So now I just want to start this up, make sure that it runs good, and with that, we'll be done. All right, key into the ignition here. All right, well, she's running great. So, you know, all in all, that 3.6 liter VVT spark plug replacement is a real easy job. I wouldn't hesitate to do this at home. You can do it with some pretty basic tools. You know, just make sure you gap the spark plugs. When you're connecting the coils, they kind of connect kind of tough, so make sure that you push them firm and you hear them click into place, so that you don't have a connector falling off while you're driving. Not that that'd be a real big deal, you just got to plug it back in, but nobody wants that. But anyhow, if you like this video, please like it, consider subscribing to the channel, and thank you for watching. Have a great night.